As the GR86 is being rolled out in Europe very soon, I thought I'd talk about some modifications. Now, you remember these videos that I did, and they were very popular with modifications and GR86 facts. Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 best modifications you can do to your brand new GR86 and BRZ if you are in America. Now, unfortunately, we won't be getting the BRZ in Europe, so just the GR86 really focusing on here, but they're pretty much the same thing. So here, without further ado, are 5 great modifications you should consider when buying one. And if you've had a GT86 before BRZ, you'll love this video. For number 1, I've gone for the body kits and wide bodies. Now, this is really popular on the GT86, and it was a really popular thing to go for because it made the car very Rocket Bunny, very pandem, I guess you could say, and these are the words that come to mind when you think of it. Now, I think it looks great on the new car, and it looked great on the old car, and it doesn't even have to be a wide body. It could be skirts, it could be new spoilers, or which I'll go on to in a minute, but it could be pretty much anything. As you can see, the standard car is looking lovely, but it just needs a bit of flair maybe, and that's what I think will help with the GR86 is a Rocket Bunny, a wide body, side skirts, all that sort of thing. As you can see, prices are pretty expensive. Now, I don't expect this to be a cheap mod because you wouldn't want to go cheap either. So here's a rough guide of what people have said: around $4,000, $500 for skirts, pounds, all that sort of price point. So just look out for that. Next up is the spoiler. Now, the spoiler was again a huge hit for the GT86 and BRZ of previous, but this makes no exception with the new BRZ and GR86 because again, it's a very similar car and it'll need it. Now, the old one had this small spoiler that came with it, which is the OEM spoiler, and so does the new one. But as you can see here, a lot of people are already trying the duck bill, which is actually quite like this. It's quite a different take on what is already there, and it does make it quite pointy and stands out, and I do love the look of it. However, duck bills aren't too cheap really, with the prices around £1,500 for a good one, and because it takes up quite a lot of the boot, you'll need to take that space. But it's no different for a carbon spoiler, as you can see here, because carbon spoilers or something similar will also be as expensive. Obviously, you could get a cheap spoiler for less than £500 perhaps, but you really wouldn't want to go too cheap because again, it's one of those things that everyone is going to see. Prices again on Fensport are super expensive for the old GT86 wing, so God knows what they're going to be like going forward. One of the new mods I would highly recommend for your GR86 is definitely a exhaust mod. Now, on the old car and the current car, it's a fairly quiet system. Now, it looks big and boring and it looks cool and that's great, but it doesn't do the job. Here you can find a wealth of exhaust from Toms to standard Fensport to Nvidia to Catback. Loads of different exhausts you can buy, and I'm sure they'll all fit the GR86 in the same way. I'll show you some sound clips in a minute, but the exhaust really does make a difference because it just gives it that Subaru grumble sometimes, which I think it needs. Now, it might be different on the BRZ, I'm not too sure, so if anyone wants to comment down below and just double check that. But as you can see on the GR86, they might have beat it up a little bit. It does help though, which is gonna, as you can hear, it just sounds brilliant. And it's also going to be sellable as well. Wheels and shoes, if you want to call them that, are some of the best modifications you can buy bang for buck. Now, I'm going to talk about wheels, tyres and brakes because they're all really part of the same package, if you like, but they're all different payments. So, obviously, going for wheels is such a big thing. They were huge on the 86 and they're going to be huge on the GR86. People have already started making cool mods with them. And obviously, they come with skinny tyres, so you want to make sure that if you are going for wheels, they probably will be a bit fatter. So, just bear that in mind. You might not be able to slide around as much. As for brakes, they are quite expensive. They can go for Brembos or the Toms or the GR kit, but they are really the top end if you want to spend thousands of pounds. But if you want standard brakes, you can still do that on a budget. And it's really important to know with certain types of wheels as well what's going to fit certain brakes. So are you going to go dished? Are you going to have a certain offset? Are they going to be cambered? And it's all a matter of personal choice and subjectivity. But as you can see on the standard GR86 or BRZ, they are going to be really playable, and just change them. As you can see here, they were really skinny, so being able to change them is important, and I think they did that because people want to modify them. Any kind of wheel fits the GR86 or the BRZ, and here are a few options. You could go for a bowler, Japan Racing. They're all sort of budget options where if you want to spend a bit more, you could go for work, and if you didn't really have a clue and you just wanted to pick a load of different ones and they do it for you, Wheelbase is a good suggestion. The final modification might be overlooked, and this one is definitely for all the people who love track days, and it's coolant. This is a car that is going to be used on track days and possibly thrashing around on a weekend. So you're going to want to make sure that it's going to have a very good coolant and intercooler system. And it's definitely overlooked because a lot of people don't really think about it. In fact, this was one that I actually really strongly promoted when modifying a car, and it's a car that definitely needs it. Now, they already have good coolant systems, as you can see here in this video. I will link the video, but basically changing your coolant isn't too hard, and changing the system is really simple because it's right at the top of the car. Install the intercooler and it should be done correctly. Making sure that is cooling the engine down on a track day, especially when it's getting hot. A lot of these cars will be sold in hot countries. It's really important. Prices aren't too bad. You're probably looking at about 500 quid, maybe $700. So make sure you get one of these if you're really into your track days, because it's going to be extremely important for the oil and to keep the car running for a long period of time. Don't forget to subscribe, because I know you're all enjoying the GT86, GR86 content, and everyone's loving all the sort of videos I'm making at the moment. So if you want to keep seeing me make more videos, I'm Carson Bennett. See you in the next one.